1. We got ourselves team 2 with Diabolicals on that team right there. Ivory Saber, I want to say, set back as a fire mage over in the back. We got ourselves Terabos over at the, I like the Mog as a Retribution Paladin. Zed dead over at BM and Chicago. It looks like it's going to be Diabolicals first up. Got his to 1800. It looks so good. Oh my goodness, he looks so vicious now. I love it. Jags over as a Shadow Prince over for the team 1. Is going to go for immediate trinket off the Succubus. You see, I think he's just trying to see if he can stay ahead of Diabolicals as best as he can. Is going to get a dot onto the Succubus and is going to have the dots as well into Diabolicals. And as he cleaves onto the Succubus, it's actually going to hurt Diabolicals as well, as long as he's kind of like within the area of the Psychic Link. Technically, for Shadow Priest, that is the play against Warlocks. Dot up the Warlock, dot up the pet, blast the pet, and the Warlock can just take damage from behind, line of sight. But not if the Warlock walks at you with a big old portal. All these portals with Shadow and Chaos Bolts flying in with an Infernal rushing in. That's going to be Jags with the Shadow. Just going in for a bit of a disperse immediately. Sid, as I find himself under a ton of pressure, under a ton of danger. That is a cooldown trade for an Infernal. And Jags get hit with a CC for just a second. Again, used to maintain the dots on both the Warlocks as well as the pet as best he can. He's going to go for a big Void Eruption. Does he have a big go? He's got himself a bit of a Vampiric Embrace, so the more damage he does, the more healing he can get out of it. Should give him a little bit more longevity. Trick out Diabolicals with a stun Void Torrent to follow. Lots of damage, does end up walling this damage off. Still takes a big crack through the defenses, through the Void, where the tentacles just blasted him out from behind him. Diabolicals is not a great condition. If you can just dot up the pet and start cleaving both the pet and the Warlock, you're going to be in a great spot. Diabolicals is in an execute range, does go in for the Warlock Hellstone with a bit of Reflect. This is where Jax is going to play it super safe, trying to see if he can avoid him for a little bit here. Again, the Succubus is just around the corner, could get that thing dotted. That is going to be a quick Succubus CC with a bit of a Bonds of Fell Immolate. Jax doesn't really have much where he could go right now, but it's going to get the dots on both the pet as well as the Warlock. Silence to follow with the Shadow Fury as well as a Void Torrent. It's going to be a Siphon as well. Diabolicals does not really have a lot of healing capabilities right now, taking so much damage. The man is in the execute range, and Jags has a lot of opportunity to at least go for a lot of healing. Diabolicals does have a Dark Pact. Reflect come back up very soon. Maybe can wait a little bit until Mordecai literally goes in for Dark Pact just so you can live the dots of a Shadow Priest as well as the cleave damage from the Psychic Link. Jags definitely has the advantage here. Succubus, you see as the stun comes out, is going to have a trinket for it. So good thing he kind of took it pretty early just to make sure he has it available here. Reflect up on the double because, oh, able to pierce right through the Reflect and taking him out. Jags walks in, able to overpower a Destruction Warlock. With Chicago going to be up next. Got himself the Wolfies up and running with a Static Totem. Jags does have a disperse in case he ever needs to. Trying to see if he can get some dots over onto Chicago and maybe try to see if he can purge him off of all the buffs available. Last or right after, Jags with a Thunder is not going to go for disperse just yet, but it may be a situation where you might want to fear onto Chicago. A bit of healing. Chicago does break out of this fear fairly quickly. That is going to be silence onto Chicago. You cannot interrupt this Void Torrent. That's going to be a lot of damage. Realizes that that's going to be something they have to find a way to mitigate. Ends up jumping away from it, and Jags just ended up holding his ground. Stun onto Chicago could be a trinket opportunity. Jags got himself Vampiric Embrace. Does get interrupted, but actually juked out that kick last second on Chicago. It's a lot of haste with the Shadow Priest. That's a lot of pressure for Chicago to deal with. Wall as well as Guardian is active, so he's got a lot of healing, lots of tankiness. But Jax not going anywhere at all. He's just standing next to Chicago. Does end up dispelling the Flame Shock off of him with the Dark Ground Racial. Still able to instant cast at Chicago back to back. Could be really bad. Light the Lasso. Oh! As the Battle Bound Stricken falls off, you still have that Void Monstrosity from beyond attacking Chicago. As Battle Bound Stricken falls off, that beast does go in for a big Void Eruption onto the Shaman. That is incredible. Jax so far has been able to best not only one of the 5v5 dueling champs, but two in a row, in fact. Shadow Priest is pretty good in duels, huh? Mind games onto the the Paladin, I guess a Holy Warrior. Mind control to follow, just gotta try to see if you can take Terabos off the side. Terabos? Teraberos. Teraberos. I'm gonna mess up your name. I'm telling you right now. Mad damage on Jax, maybe in a bit of trouble. Does get himself a bit of a fade into a small heal, into a desperate prayer. Does himself anything. It's gonna be a silence. Oh, the Teraberos doesn't have a lot of health to really work with. Jax also has no help whatsoever. Needs to maintain himself as best as possible. Flash heals are gonna be brutally here. Definitely needs to get some kind of a stun on CC onto Teraberos. Hodge to follow. Does have a trigger for it. Fear. Could be a bubble situation for Teraberos. Does he go down here? Definitely gonna be a bubble. I think Jax is in a good spot. Can dispel it. Does he have the mana for it? Does not have the mana. Does he survive? Wait, whoa, hold on a second. Oh my goodness, he used the Void Shift. Now, I guess there's a question of should Shadow Priest be able to use a Void Shift? Because they do have a lot of survivability. And we've had rules before where we're like, okay with Shadow Priest using it when they're not performing well, and where Shadow Priests don't use Wood Shift because they're plenty survivable. Gonna be a Psy Fiend, slowing down on the rate of healing for Terror Bearers. Got a full stun on Jax, could potentially be bad for the Shadow Priest. Should be able to survive a little bit of those Terror Bearers actually turning around to make sure that the pet does get slain, but then so he in that mind games into a quick execute. My goodness. Lame if you take it out, then ban bubble. That's one way. I mean, Chad, what's your opinions? Should they be allowed? Yes, should they be allowed to use it? Or no, they shouldn't be allowed to use it? And I'll just take the chat's like whatever the chat decides, man. Whatever the chat decides. Because we've had special rules like this before. Like how Rogue shouldn't be able to Shadow Step and then use a shadowy duel on a guy he's not dueling to escape. Little things like that. Setback take a lot of... Oh! Setback took a lot of damage, but the man was not going to take that setback against the Shadow Priest whatsoever. While the chat and I were trying to figure out which way we're gonna go with this whole the rule finding here. Flamin does end up opening up a bunch of gateways towards Setback. The man cannot really outrage it. That's gonna be a big aggressive port towards Flamin. There's gonna be a Mortal Coil ascended Setback as well as a Fear right after. Have some wall together with a big dark back. That's gonna be Setback at no help whatsoever. Does wait until cauterizes proc into a quick ice block just so he can go for a bit of a resetting. So he got himself a little bit of that alter time. Should be able to at least reverse that alter time away from Flamin. But there is an observer watching him every single one of your casts. That thing is gonna blast you. Looks like you got yourself a decent line of sight, but the sucker you got yourself in a bad spot. Casts about to fall. Oh, Flamin does end up coming out on top at the very last second, barely alive for this one. And Zed, oh, did the dead kill shot him? I think he did. I think the man did kill shot him. It is a Beastmaster Hunter versus Warrior Brain. Got himself full burst in the opener. Double Odin's Fury with an avatar. Trying to see if he can maximize the damage. So Dead does activate Survival of the Fittest. 20% damage reduction stun as the Warrior leaps over to him. And Warrior Brain trying to see if it can crawl over towards the Hunter. But the concussive shot as well as the slows. Just constant opportunity for Zeded to just chip away at the Warrior while the guy can't really reach him. Having to turn around and turn the attention onto the Hippo as well as the Cave Rat, I guess? The Cave Mouse? Gonna be a Cobra shots around the corner for the Hunter. Leap or charge rather by the Warrior. Trying to see if he can close the gap into a freeze onto the Warrior by Zeded. Got himself a Death Chakram that's gonna amplify his damage by quite a bit. Definitely needs to go for a big kill shot. I think he may just have a potential here. Does he have the kill shot around the corner? Trying to go for it. Is it gonna be enough? Does for one kill shot, but it's not enough. It looks like he lives it. Zeded survived, and the man can dip in the camera right now. He may be able to actually make himself more than one play here. Gonna be a full stun onto the Warrior. Does end up trick getting maybe a little bit late. Does he have any mobility to follow? That is two pets attacking him right now. Kill commands back to back. May want to jump down to get away from the pets. Definitely needs to turn around and start attacking the pets for the bloodthirst. And that's exactly what he was doing. Trying to see if he can bait the pets over to give some line of sight. Trying to see if he can avoid the Hunter as best as possible. Gonna be a big spear onto the Dead. Can't really go anywhere. Doesn't have freeze on the Warrior in his strength, so the Warrior wants to go for a big go, but he just cannot do it. Just all these high spikes preventing that movement. It's gonna be a Death Shock onto the Warrior. Does some maybe a rallying cry disarm to the Dead for just a second. Does he go for the kill shot? Kill shot goes through, but not enough damage. Does he have enough? Oh, kill command at the very end. Does end up taking him out. With Kelelel gonna be last one left over for the team one. Charging out towards Zeded with an immediate stun. Gonna be a hard to follow. Trinket right after. Does Zeded have a defensive? He has a Turtle Shell. Is gonna use a Turtle Shell here. If the pets can do enough damage to force a bubble out of Kelel, that's all he needs. If he can get a bubble out of the guy or interrupt him on a holy spell. Bubble, there it goes. If Zeded can survive this, maybe it'll be okay. Try to see if he can find escape, but no, the Paladin will not let you do it. The pursuit of justice and pursuit of his target is the Paladin's main prerogative. Jax as well as the Dead did really well tonight. Well done. I like it. Alrighty, let's get us another going here, boys. Also, choice service for me.